Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. For the past 3-4 days now, Papa is intensely prompting us to dwell on stillness, silence, detachment, and he has been trying to clear our doubts to some extent. So we were prompted to develop this non-judgmental approach during our entire day's activities that will only help us when we take the inward journey to find the real Vacha. One of the problems probably we are facing is we are trying to conceive an entity called Vacha in us. Actually, don't you think it is interlinked, interrelated, interconnected? Because I am one of the creations. Only because of this creation, now I have been given an opportunity to think about the Creator. So, bereft of this creation, can I move toward the Creator? So, if we try to conceive that Vacha is a separate entity, this problem comes. At the same time, we are unaware of the, or at least we are not clear about the presence of the Vacha in us. Yes, we are unaware. We are unaware of the presence of the Vacha in us. So our struggle is because we go only by the Vacha. From the individual plane only I see the whole world. And I have been told by my Guru that if the Vacha is identified inside, then our whole approach will not be based on the individual, it will be from the universe. So we should be as in separate individual, the sense of individuality has to experience the presence of the Vacha. Now the question is the mind, the mind thoughts. Mind means flow of thoughts. Thoughts are preventing me. We cannot reach. So this was addressed by, even at that time, Arjuna raised the same point. He says, Chanchalam hi manakrishna pramadhi bhalavat dridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayo rivasu dushkaram. Verily the mind, O Krishna, is restless, turbulent, strong, unyielding. I regard it quite as hard to achieve its control as that of the air. Suppose you want to control the air, no? It is difficult. Beautiful simile. You can easily understand. A month back or 2 months back, we had that, what do you call, cyclone, something like that. In less than a minute, no? It uprooted many trees, it damaged so many buildings. Less than a minute. We are seeing it. Can we control? Vayuriva sudushkaram. So we cannot understand that. The air is there now. I cannot put it in a particular place. I cannot hold it. No? So our mind is like that. Chanchalam hi manakrishna pramadi phalavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayuriva sudushkaram. Arjuna is putting forth the doubt that which every one of us have. He says, verily Krishna, the mind is very fickle. Chanchalam hi manakrishna. In Sanskrit, he means it is well known. Wherever you find the word he, it means it is very well known. Prasha. Pramadi bharavadridam. It puts me powerfully this way, that way. That is the nature of the mind. It pulls me powerfully this way, that way. That is the nature of the mind. Satyaham nigraham manye sudushkaram. Its control and discipline, I consider it difficult. Vayuriva, like trying to catch the air. And what does he say? He says, Lord Krishna says, Bhagavan Uvacha, Asamshiyam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena ta kaunteya vairagyena ta vishyati. It can be achieved only by what? Without doubt, O mighty armed, the mind is restless and difficult to control. But through practice and renunciation, O son of Kundi, it can be achieved. So every one of us are discussing, how to reach that, how to control the mind. In his elaborate explanation, Vinobaji answered this. Because when we go through Bhagavad Gita, previously, prior to these stanzas, the Lord explains about sitting in a particular posture and this and that. Either we are unable to sit like that, or even if we sit, the mind keeps on going. So what is the text? What is it that I should try? I should know. Here in ashram, Papa keeps on telling, holding on to the divine name with faith and devotion. Even that we have been hearing for decades now, Have you been able to do that? Then the question would not have come at all. So we also need something more. So he says, all the practices and means adopted in the course of spiritual pursuit are meant to be followed by everyone. Spirituality, in fact, teaches how our daily life can be purified, leading to contentment and peace of mind. We control. If it has to become one point, what should I do? That is why during the non-inward journey period, what we do, how our approach is, how do we react, what are the norms we have, that matters. So unless we prepare the mind, unless we try to cultivate a higher dimension in all that we think, do and act, in all that we think, do and talk, it is difficult to control. If I am always pessimistic, if I am always critical in my approach to everybody, we always see the negativity in us. So he says, Gita is meant to teach us how worldly life can be purified. At whatever level you may be engaged in the world of practical affairs, the Gita comes to you. It does not want you to remain there. Holding your hand, it will take you to the ultimate destination, self-realization. There is a famous saying that if the mountain will not come to Muhammad, Muhammad must go to the mountain. Muhammad is anxious to see that his message reaches even an inert mountain. The mountain is inert. So Muhammad would not keep waiting for it to come. This is also true of the Gita. The Gita will come to the lowliest of the low, to the poor, to the weak, the ignorant, not to keep them in that state, but to grasp them by their hand and lift them up. Its only desire is that man should purify his daily life and reach the ultimate stage. Therefore, never consider yourself a mundane, ordinary being caught up in samsara. Never raise a fence around you, confining yourself to where you are. Do not say with despair, what can I do? This body measuring 3.5 cubits is all that I am. Do not remain in the prison of your own making and lead a beast-like existence. Gear up your spirit to move ahead, to rise higher and higher. Have confidence that you would certainly raise yourself to great heights. Do not weaken the power of your mind by thinking that you are a worthless worldly creature. Do not clip the wings of imagination. Spread them out. The skylark sees the sun boldly, says, I will soar high in the sky and reach the sun. That should be the spirit. Our behavior, however, is just the opposite. We cripple our imagination, erect a fence around us. We therefore do not rise even to the extent we can. Not only that, we become the cause of our own downfall. By underestimating our strength, we lose whatever strength we have. When imagination is crippled, we are sure to fall. What else can happen? Therefore, we should always aspire to rise higher and higher. It is aspiration that ensures man's progress in life. Do not, therefore, throttle it. Do not whine. One should never leave the beaten track of worldly life and wander here and there. One should never. Do not insult yourself, capital S. Do not insult yourself, capital S. A seeker can persevere in his course only if he has vision and confidence. That is the key to liberation. Do not think that dharma is only for the saints, that one may go to them only to get a certificate from them. That what you are doing is right. Do not entertain such ideas and bind yourself. One cannot take a single step forward without high aspiration. If you have this vision, this aspiration, this exalted spirit, then only the question of appropriate means arises. Otherwise, everything will reach a dead end. So now he enters with this clarion call. That it was hailed by all Mahatmas, who are all human beings. They were born to a parent. They had a body, mind, intellect, equipment. Everything is like us. But they could scale the heights. So I should also be able to scale the heights. That is how, we get charged. We don't get dispirited. So that is the first factor we should develop according to Vinoba. We are trying to understand how to control the mind so that he who is the watcher inside, whose presence is experienced by us. This is our journey. He who is the watcher, residing in us and residing in everywhere, is our goal. The watcher is the real you, the self-master, that word of God. So we have been trying through so many methods. Now Papa wants us to dwell more and more of it. So here he brings through, Vinobaji, that first of all we should have that positive idea, optimistic. So he says, various types of, the varieties of sadhanas have been outlined. Before embarking on this exercise, the Gita exhorts us to have divine aspirations, to keep the mind free, wings strong, so that the jiva, the individual self, can become one with God, unite with the Supreme Self. Devotion, meditation, development of virtues, inquiry and analysis, discrimination between the self and the not-self, all these are different types of spiritual discipline. This chapter discusses the yoga of meditation. The yoga of meditation consists chiefly of three important components. Now we are entering into the practical from the theory. So he says one-pointedness of the mind. He is not giving us any tall talk. He is giving us from our own experience, All of us have this one-pointedness. Second is moderation and regulation in life to help attain one-pointedness. And third is equanimity and evenness in outlook. The only spirituality means spirituality helps us to lead a purified life. Only a pure life can understand, experience the presence of the providence. The great provider, the self, the Atman, all-merciful, almighty Lord of the universe. So many words. The watcher, the stillness, great void, Papa. All those things, it becomes a reality only with a how to purify my life. We cannot run away from the field God has given. Family life, professional life, social life, individual life, so many. So he says, very practical, one-pointedness of mind. It requires that the mind be restrained in its fickleness control. Moderation and regulation in life implies doing everything in a measured way, within proper limits. Equanimity and evenness in outlook means having a positive and constructive outlook. These three together make up the yoga of meditation. There are two means to achieve this, abhyasa and vairagya. Let us take one-pointedness of mind. It is indispensable for any work. Even in worldly affairs, one needs concentration. It is not that the qualities needed for worldly success are different from those needed for spiritual progress. This also we forget. The other day we were dwelling on this, When we were children, we had applied, we prepare ourselves for the exams, because the exams decide our moving from one grade to another grade, one class to another class. So what do? We try to go through the text, we try to go through the explanation given by the teacher, and then every day there is a homework so that it becomes a part of us, we assimilate. Suppose we are working on homework, just go back to your own childhood days. The mother calls or somebody calls, what will you say? I'll finish this sentence. So many homework they have given, I have finished, so I'll come later. So there is one-pointedness right from our childhood God is providing us. When cooking, so the assimilation is tested through examination. We are not studying for examination. It's a wrong concept, wrong approach. It is a test for us to know whether we have assimilated what has been taught to us through the text, through the lectures. Assimilation. For all that we need, concentration. So we can excel in everything only when concentration is there. We know that. We don't need anybody to come and tell us. Spirituality means nothing but purification of worldly life. Business, scientific research, politics, diplomacy, in fact, take any activity. Concentration of mind is the key to success. Even if you are an old man of 60, you will have enthusiasm and strength of a young man. The mind should in fact go on getting stronger as one gets older. Everybody is hearing, you know. Look at a fruit. In the beginning it is raw, then it ripens, then decays, but the seed within gets harder and harder. The shell deteriorates and falls off, but that is not the essential part of the fruit. Its essential part is the seed. Similarly, memory should go stronger. Intellect should become sharper, more radiant as one ages. But that does not happen. People complain of failing memory and attribute the cause to their old age. But knowledge, wisdom, memory are like one seed, one's essential part. Even as the body grows older and becomes infirm, the soul should become stronger. One-pointedness of mind is necessary for this purpose. How to attain it? What should be done for it? The Lord says, one should fix the mind in the self and think of nothing else. But how to do this? To still the mind is extremely important. Concentration will always elude us if you do not forcefully stop the revolving fields of thought. The outer wheel may perhaps be stopped somehow. We may put a stop to worldly activities, but the inner wheel continues to revolve. As we go on employing different means for the concentration of mind, the inner wheel revolves all the faster. You may sit in this or that posture, fix your gaze. By itself it will not achieve concentration. The important thing is one must be able to stop the inner wheel. The mind is crowded with the thoughts of limitless samsara, affairs and happenings in the outside world. Concentration of the mind is impossible until all those thoughts are put out. So he says we have to preserve what is being expended. Let us not concentrate on the trivial matters. In other words, we try to bring out our excellence, in anything that we do. Not merely in the puja room, not merely in ashram, not merely in temple. Anything that we do at any place, we try to bring out perfection, whole-souled involvement. This is what, he says in Bhagavad Gita, yoga. You should become a yogi. He says, to every child in the year you can tell, be a yogi, as taught in the Gita. You do good work, help people, serve people, bring happiness and cheer to one and all, develop peace of mind and strong detachment. All this is part of yoga. You will be leading a full life. Be a yogi. You do good work, help people, serve people, bring happiness and cheer to one and all, develop peace of mind and strong detachment. All this is part of yoga. You are doing some work at home. You think it is samsara. No, it is not samsara. It is yoga. Sri Krishna is telling us in the Gita, every work is sacred. Every work is holy. By itself, work is neither good or bad. But the attitude of the mind makes it good or bad. In this way, work has been given a very high status in the Gita. Yoga in the Gita is based upon men and women at work. men and women who have to discharge their responsibilities in life, in the midst of which one can become spiritual, one can realize truth. That is the exhortation here to everyone. Politicians, administrators, school teachers, professors, professionals, housewives, and to everyone else. If only we understand the Gita correctly, we will be hearing a constant whisper that Sri Krishna is putting into the ears of the people every minute. Tasmat yogi bhava. Therefore, be a yogi. Be a yogi. Slowly, steadily advance. There is no need to perform quick march in this matter. You can walk at your own convenient pace, but it is a long road. Take one step. Be thankful that you have gained that one step. Take the second step. In this way, march onward according to your own strength. So this is a very practical philosophy. And when you adopt it, there is no need for any regret. I have not gone fast enough. You will go ahead according to your strength. To someone who is faster, you say, Godspeed, go ahead, I shall come behind you. That attitude must be there. Not jealousy, not pulling somebody down. I will be behind you. I have got my own place. So be a yogi, So tasmad yogi bhava Arjuna. Therefore, be a yogi Arjuna. So there are about 47 slogas in this particular thing. Some we may not be able to understand, but we may be able to understand it through the commentaries of Mahatmas. Otherwise, we will be simply repeating the sloga. Here also the assimilation is important. So control of the mind. Control of the mind is necessary for enabling us to feel the presence of the Vacha. In fact, Papa wants every one of us to do the chanting of Ramnam only for the control of the mind. To arrest all dissimilar thoughts, get concentrated on one thought, and to go beyond that. Now, if that is not suitable for us, we should employ many other methods. We should not get stagnated. If we cannot move forward. So here he says concentration. Let us not fritter away or spend our mental energy on trivial matters. Then moderation and regulation in life. One more thing that aids concentration is to set bounds to one's life. All our actions should be measured and weighed. This is an essential characteristic of mathematics. It should be there in all our actions. As we take medicine in measured doses, so should be the case with our food and sleep, and in fact with everything. All the sense organs should be under strict vigil. We should be ever alert lest we should eat too much or sleep too much or see what we need not. All our activities should be continuously examined with meticulous care. Is it not becoming clearer and clearer to us that people like us who are involved in some activity right from morning till evening, we have some limitations, In the case of Mahatmas, they were able to withdraw themselves totally from their field of activities for a number of days or weeks or months and go through rigorous tavasya. God gave them the intense aspiration. God provided them with an ambience. But in our case, no. Over years, we have our body, mind, intellect equipment is conditioned to certain things. Basic comforts we cannot sacrifice. Basic needs we cannot sacrifice. Basic activity we cannot be away from it. So within those limitations, how to reach this thing? We should be very clear about it. This is addressed to us. During Papa's trips, both in India and abroad. Many questions were raised. Then he emphatically kept on reminding, though no doubt, first thing is to be realized is the presence of God within. It is not absolutely necessary that one should withdraw completely from the Krishna activity. If that is needed, God will provide. By ourselves we need. In His own way, He will do it. So within all the limitations, whatever He has made us to condition ourselves, let us put in our efforts, not merely hearing. To hear the word, the process comes. Enough of hearing, enough of reading, enough of all those things. We have spent a lot of time on that. So now what is needed is to put ourselves on a process. And the process will definitely, we know from our worldly experience, that the process ultimately helps us to reach the goal. Though there may be failing, we come to know that we have failed, then it makes us to not to fail, to ensure, like that, we proceed from stage 1 to stage 2 and like that, So this is what is needed from our side. So we pray to Him now. The moment we hear about Vairagya and others, so many thoughts will come. No, simple word, Vairagya. Concentration. When you concentrate on a particular, all other things become secondary. When we get fixed on that ideal, rest of the things become secondary. We may be a lover of music, but when this comes, we will be first selective, that which helps me to move further. Then again you will install it, I have heard. Suppose to see so many things. Previously we were enamored, charmed by this side, that side. Then you say, it is there. To enjoy that we need an inner equipment, we will bother about. Like that, slowly the withdrawal, even without our knowledge, even without our naming it as a withdrawal, it becomes a reality. So let us all pray to Him. He has provided so many inputs for us. So please, push us to the process, where even if we want, we cannot withdraw. Put us on the rail, which will never come back, which will only take us forward. We have been so far standing at the station and thinking about all those things. Just push us into the rails. It has to take us. One more thing which we wanted to say, the watcher, never we should feel that the watcher is different from the watcher.